Good morning. I am Dr. Elizabeth Samantha Rothschild Judge, providing update for all public accountancy with regard to current events, however uneventful. As you know, my property has been embezzled. My residence is located at 1908 24th Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. 20008. I did not slack my property. I did not create phantom documents. I have an authentic purchase and sale agreement which can be verified with the U.S. IRS Internal Revenue Service. At this time, I want to report about the many times that I've said I was being stalked and harassed. Most specifically, the criminal stalking and the criminal harassment that is occurring at the shelter where I'm staying. It has become obvious, most obviated, that that is directly related to the property embezzlement. In other words, these persons, this group of people, have been conspiring for years to do something harmful to me in the way of crime such as embezzlement, extortion, fraud, and everything. They used to press me all the time about an ID because guess what? Right now with my property embezzled, if they had my credential information of identification and social security number, they would be robbing my bank account or my capital account blind until they were caught. Now you can know that these sorts of things, once addressed, do provide, the penalty is provided for them. But in the meantime, I'm dealing with this stalking at the shelter that I identified this activity when I first got there to the supervisor, and my outcry fell on deaf ears. They have done nothing about it and have even ignored my request to be in a work area so that I can get my work done, being the governor and having my own company and having my own church. I have a lot of work to do, and that was ignored. So now I have been placed around persons who I am identifying as directly related to the persons who have embezzled my property. That's their whole conspiracy group. So the embezzlers have people at the shelter stalking and harassing me to try to create a situation that would slight me at a disadvantage. The whole time they're embezzling my property and seeking to extort further from any of my accounts they could possibly get to. Yet they can't get to my accounts because I'm smarter than to have a ID, valid, state ID, that they could use to break into my bank accounts on my persons, because there's thieves there too. So anyways, with these stalkers there, and they're communicating with the embezzlers. This is why it was so important to them to bear association to me and to pretend like they were at the shelter with me, because they wanted to cover up their criminal activity by association to say I gave them permission to be at my place. When I don't know these people personally, they are not persons who are authorized by me. That means this is criminal. This is not a civil case. This is not someone I said could stay there or let them move in. And my property was not one to slack. It was, once I purchased my property, the IRS and the Realtors Association removed my MLS listing and put my house off the market because it was paid for in full, and I have the purchase and sale agreement that can be verified with the U.S. IRS Internal Revenue Service to prove it. Okay, so the other problem is that the corruption that I faced before in other places with the law enforcement has seeped into the department up here in D.C., into the Metropolitan Police Department, whereby there are persons in the uniform who are corrupt, and they're a part of that criminal conspiracy. So it's targeting me. That means no matter what I say or do, their minds are set on embezzling and extorting property from me. Their minds are set on bringing unjust arrangement against me, unjust incarceration, unjust warnings, unjust penalties. And they've not been able to do so because as a whole, MPD is not corrupt. It is a very good police department and one of the best law enforcement agencies in America. Yet the corruption is seeping in. I've got it on film. Y'all saw it for yourselves on YouTube. So to say they're a part of it. So no matter what happens, their minds are set on doing things a certain way. The people that are stalking me, every time I post something on my web pages, they're cyber stalking me. So as soon as I post a blog, they get up and start walking around. I want to say I'm not afraid. What I am is respectful of the law, and I will not take the law into my own hands. I know better than to do that because I am a judge. Okay, so that I identified these persons arriving. When they arrived in DC, I identified them to the staff, to the supervisor, and she failed to file any police reports on the activity. She refused to document anything to turn over to the police department to say the activity that's going on at the shelter. And from what I see, she's an accessory to it too. But that's another story. Another story is that basically, I hate to have to expose persons in this manner, but it has become very necessary because every day there's something different, there's something new, there's some event, some sort of commotion, some sort of altercation. And I do my best to avoid these things because I work. And 15 minutes yelling and screaming in an argument with someone I do not really even know takes away from 15 minutes of my work time. And so I'm not really appreciating that. So here we are. I've made the reports. I've contacted the IRS, the Realtors Association. I should have been able to get somewhere with law enforcement, but there was a corrupt officer present and they refused to follow through with my authority. So that has to be addressed. And the criminal stalking at the shelter, I'm not getting any assistance with that. People are in their cells, in their power struggles, wanting to be more important than what their positions are, and they're refusing to assist. And then I'm going to say this and be through with it, but anyone I feel has become an accessory after the fact, was an accessory before then, or even indirectly involved in this conspiracy to target me in order to extort and embezzle what I have worked so hard for, will face penalty. So we're in the waiting game to see what happens next, and I'm leaving room for everyone to do their parts, and I'm going to do my part. That's the update on that. You all have a great day.